Hello, it's Sunday, March 8th, and 2020, and I'm in Cork, Ireland, and I've decided to record some memories while I still have them. And the memory I want to share with you today is when I was a very young man, in my 20s. I lived in New York City in the late 1970s, and I worked as a production stage manager for a director, a theater director named Phil Osterman. And for this one production, Phil was producing and directing, it was a British comedy called Alan Ackburn's Relatively Speaking. That was the name of it. And the star of the show was Myrna Loy. Myrna Loy had been a very famous Hollywood screen star. She began in silent movies in the teens and 20s and was very popular in the Thin Man series with William Powell, very elegant mystery comedies. But Myrna was at the end of her career. She was in her 70s or so, and my job was to be her gopher, and I would pick her up at her Manhattan brownstone to bring her to rehearsals, and she would wear these dowdy house dresses and all. And I remember her telling stories about, she was a big star at MGM in the 1930s, 40s, even into the 50s. And she told me once, I remember, she used to drive herself to the studio lot at MGM in Hollywood back in the 30s and 40s. And arriving early in the morning, sometimes she would arrive when Joan Crawford was arriving in her chauffeured limousine. And Myrna told me that everybody was a little afraid of Joan Crawford, so she always let Joan get her own parking space. So that was one of the stories I remember Myrna telling me. And I also remember on opening night, she was radiant with her red hair, and she was just wonderful, and she treated me very well. And those are some very fond memories I have of Myrna Loy. Be fabulous.